Hello everyone, hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over Beatles for sale. But first I want to show you something I bought in, come here. I want to show you something I bought in Orlando in 2019. Now it looks like it was signed by the Beatles, but it's not signed by the Beatles. Properly, I mean. So this was, there's a little town. It looks like an old, 50s town in Orlando, Florida. And there was some sort of car show, some amazing cars, but within the town there were a bunch of shops, there was a few carnival rides, and there was a music themed shop where I picked this up. And the reason why I know this isn't signed by the Beatles is because they had this, there was like 5 of these, as well as an Abbey Road one, and all these different bands. And although they were fake, it still looked super cool. So, I had to buy one since I was on holiday. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because it's got a list of the American albums. So, on July the 22nd, 1963, Introducing the Beatles come out. And then January 20th, 1964, Meet the Beatles. The Beatles' second album on April 10th, 1964. Then A Hard Day's Night, but it is red. Something New, The Beatles Story, The Beatles Story, then Beatles 1965, which was released in December 1964, apparently. The Early Beatles, March the 22nd, 1965. Beatles 6. Beatles 6, really? June 1965. Help, Rubber Soul, Yesterday and Today. I know that Help and Rubber Soul had a lot of their songs mixed up compared to the British proper releases. Yesterday and Today, that's strange. Revolver. And then obviously Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was the first Beatles album that was released, quote, I can't say that word, released in the UK and the US exactly the same. But then it goes on, there's ones I've never heard of. I know, the Beatles, I know those two, and then there's Rock and Roll Music, the Beatles at Hollywood Bowl, Love Songs, Rarities. So that goes into the 80s anyway. That's super cool, and those are the American releases, but I won't be covering them because obviously I don't have them. But anyway, let's get into the looks of this album. So, I love this album cover. The story goes that the Beatles were kind of fed up with Beatlemania, and they were fed up with, being a commercial, pretty much an advertisement, They were the face of rock and roll music for EMI and Parlophone, and they were fed up with being sold to young girls and things like that. So that's hence the name Beatles for Sale, as well as the not very happy in that photo. And this was a big start thing in 1964 when this came out. I think it was 64. Because, most early 60s album covers, they had these huge grins, like on their previous albums. These huge smiley faces, and everything had to be perfect and happy. And, this was completely different for the time. As well as, I love the colour contrast on the back cover. This reminds me very much of Rubber Soul. Out for the album cover anyway. This is Rubber Soul is like a psychedelic version of this album cover. But it also comes with an awesome gatefold with a great picture of the band. That's amazing. And that's a great picture as well. And then you've got the write-up, which is always cool. Now, I won't read all of it, but it's such a great album to have on vinyl because an album, it's on one record, but it has a gatefold, which is the best you can get. But yeah, absolutely love the looks of this album. So if you buy records just to have a collection and you like the Beatles, this is definitely one you should pick up. But let's talk about the songs. So as I said, this is my favourite early Beatles album, but somebody asked me why I don't have a favourite Beatles album, and that's just because I think that all the Beatles albums are absolutely superb. To pick one, I can't pick a Beatles album out of their catalogue and go, this is better than all the others. Each Beatles album has its own reason to be their best album. And honestly, no other band has achieved that but the Beatles. Anyway, the music. So side one starts with No Reply, which is absolutely amazing Lennon-McCartney song. And I love the double-track vocals with John and Paul's harmonies. Are just beautiful. I heard it once before, No Reply. And then song two, sorry. I'm a loser. Such a great song. Absolutely superb. Babies in Black is a fantastic song. The baby's in black, now I'm feeling blue. Tell me, oh, what should I do? And then Rock and Roll Music, a Chuck Berry cover. Amazing. John's vocals, absolutely just gorgeous. And I forgot to mention, with this album, they would return to do covers. But it would be one of the last albums they did covers. But Rock and Roll Music is a fantastic cover. I'll Follow the Sun, which is a really special song for me. I mean, it's a light acoustic track with Paul McCartney on vocals. But when so you may remember I had a partner in America, but now not together. But point being, I was in a long distance relationship for the longest time. And when I first went to go meet them in the Atlanta airport, that song was playing over the speakers as we met for the first time. And I had my first kiss with that song playing. My first kiss was in Atlanta airport with I'll Follow the Sun playing. So obviously it holds a special place in my heart. And then number 6 with Mr. Moonlight. Mr. Moonlight. Now, I have heard this song get trashed across the board. I've seen everyone I know just hate on it. But I have never understood why. Even I've heard that the Beatles recorded it as a joke and it made it onto the album. But if it's a joke, how in God's name did they do it so well? John's vocals on the chorus when he sings Mr. Moonlight are some of the best vocals out of any song ever. And it blows my mind that apparently it's just a joke. And the harmonies are amazing. And yeah, alright, that the organ solo is a bit, it's a bit cheesy, but otherwise it's fantastic. Kansas City, Hey 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 is an amazing song. 8 Days a Week, one of the best early Beatles songs. Honey Don't with Ringo on vocals, a fantastic cover. And I love the way it goes, Take It Away, George, or something like that, for the guitar solo. Superb. And then the last few songs are amazing. I don't want to spoil the party, so I'll go. What You're Doing. And Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby, a cover sung by George. Amazing. So in conclusion, so this is a 9 out of 10. This is another masterpiece, and it's the pinnacle of the early Beatles sound and the early 60s rock and roll sound. After this, you go on to Help, and then I would consider Help the first album where the Beatles really took the studio into their own. Help is where they started becoming the band we know and love. So I would say this is the last of their earlier albums, and then Help onwards, is the later period. But I know some people say Help is an early album. Some, it's subjective. You can think what you want. Of course, it doesn't really matter. But this is the pinnacle of their early work in my mind. It's such a great album. And I listened to it last night. And when I'm done editing this, I'm going to put it on again. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of Beatles for Sale. And I'll see you again next time. Take care, everyone.